So how much money are you losing with your off-the-shelf 3PL billing software? We appreciate your time. We have Kim Iman today, who is our presenter, and Kim has been with Royal Ford for over 17 years and has 25 plus years in the industry, in the WS industry. Really smart guy, he's an expert on the topic today. And in our today's discussion, we want to talk about how companies are losing substantial amounts of money due to incomplete and inaccurate 3PL billing software. And we'd like to save all the questions and answers to the end if possible, and put those in the chat. And at the end, we'll make sure we go through those and cover all the questions that you might have. And the first thing I want to mention to begin off our webinar today is there's a lot of 3PL software companies out there today that's providing great 3PL processes, but we want you to consider our solution today and what we do around 3PL billing. So at this moment, I'm going to hand it over to Kim. Kim, are you ready?
I am ready, and thank you for that nice introduction. Even the part about me being a great guy, I always appreciate hearing that, so thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Kim Iman, and as Gary said, I have been doing this for many, many years. In fact, almost 30. So I'm dating myself, I know, but that's just the way it is. So, okay, let's start with the facts of the matter here. We're going to do a webinar that's not going to be too long. So I encourage you to get a hold of me later and we can have one-to-one discussions. So in a recent survey, close to 60% of all 3PL organizations report they can't bill correctly for their services with the software they're using. And according to experts, this is costing the average 3PL, up to $10,000 per month in lost revenue. And that's really including all the big guys, the little guys, all combined. So the reasons for this are really pretty simple. Many of the offerings out there on the market are just basic WMS systems that added generic billing components almost as an afterthought. I think we all know kind of who those are out there. I'm not going to name names throughout this webinar, but we're all have been exposed. So in order to have a true billing system, it needs to have unlimited charge types. There's just no way around that, especially when you get into some sophisticated companies that have a lot of accessorial charges and things that just can't be in a canned system. These activities need to be highly developed, tested into the supply chain marketplace using real life scenarios. In many cases, the off-the-shelf systems that we're talking about are provided more as a commodity to be sold as inexpensive alternatives, with a low price being the ultimate denominator. Okay, and that's pretty much how that works by design. That's done. So next screen, here we go. A little lag here, sorry. So why it's important to research beyond what the salesman says. I think this is consumer 101. We all know that you need to research beyond what the salesperson tells you. But when it comes to software, I found in my experience that that's really very, very true, because there's a lot of things that you really can't see. So you really have to take people's words for things. As today's 3PL software offerings multiply, there's a lot of pressure put on the commodity-based solution providers that we're talking about, and they need to appear relevant. And sometimes they spend more time and revenue marketing their image. You know what I mean? Great websites, media campaigns, anything that they will throw out there to look great than is spent developing the actual software. I wanted to tell you really quickly a story from my personal experience. A few years back, is really many years back, when I was consulting, I was helping a customer acquire a 3PL system. Okay. The solution we focused on seemed like a great fit. Their website gave the impression of a global company that could easily handle any issues. All the bells were in place. After getting proposals from these folks, we did a little further background check, and we found that the company consisted of 4 people in an 800 square foot facility next to a donut shop. Nothing wrong with donuts, okay? I love them. But this is where they conducted all their business, including their hosting server. So you get the point. Needless to say, we moved on. But that's the kind of stuff that's out there. And the lesson that you need to take from here is do your research. Make sure that nobody can pull the wool over your eyes on telling you what they can do. The proof is always in the pudding, okay? Now, here is some attributes that I wanted to share with you. I'm not going to read all of those by any means, but it's really key to know that you need to have the ability to create these not only on the fly, but create them within contracts that can be pulled up easily. For example, if you're selling to, if your customer, I should say, is Bed Bath & Beyond, Walmart, Target, you're going to have a certain contract that has certain pricing in it that's very competitive. If your customer is Bob's Hardware down the street, okay, then as you know, that's where you can make up margin with charging a little bit more. But the point is that all these have to be accessible in real time. And when you start working on Bob's stuff, you need to be able to pull all that up in the contract, okay? We put in here granular invoice up to 5 decimal places on the third line. And what that means, we have a customer in Georgia called Claxton Cold Storage, and they service the Kroger account, okay? They do millions, literally, of frozen chickens every month. And so they're charging like less than 1/10 of a penny per transaction, okay? So we needed to have a granular invoice that would allow these decimal places to be able to bill correctly. One of the reasons that we do this, and one of our key differentiators for Royal 4, which I'll get into us in a little while, is that we use our leading ERP system. We're not just a warehouse management system. We actually have an ERP system that we built our billing engine from. So more on that later. So, you know, receipt of products, number of pallets on hand, orders received per month, units on an individual order, storage fees, pick, pack, breakdown, relabel, shrink wrap. All these things are very familiar to the people on this audience. But the key is being able to pull these up and create them in a very quick and concise manner. And so that's what needs to happen in billing to be available and accurate for your customers. Okay. So now to our little commercial here. WISE is our warehouse management system and stands for Warehouse Intelligence System Expert. We've been around since the early 80s, as many of you know. And we have a complete warehouse execution system for 3PL. At the bottom here, you'll see with WISE 3PL, each customer charges accumulate automatically and can be sent as an invoice to the customer or transferred to your host accounting system. Now, this is critical because we can actually print an invoice as a standalone system and send it out to your customer, a very detailed invoice, which is critical sometimes that they need it very quickly and they want it today. But typically we have our customers link to their accounting, whether it's QuickBooks, SAP, Oracle, it doesn't really matter. You want to connect to your billing system so that you can do aging. And that's really critical and key. But we do have a lot of flavors of that available. We are a systems integration company. So when you work with Royal 4, those things happen for you. Okay. So eWise, now this is an interesting thing. This is our customer portal that's all web-based. Any good 3PL billing system that you look at or that you've settled on should have a really good portal. And these give your customers the ability to look in, view their inventory quantities, availability, orders remotely, order statuses, and virtually anything that you want them to do. Now with us, what we'll do is we will set up a system on your site that looks something like this, a screen that basically says, has your 3PL customers logging in to the eWise portal from any browser in the world. I mean, your boss can be sitting in Hong Kong and he can pull out a smartphone and look into eWise. And again, they'll be able to create orders, see stock levels, create moves, and just all kinds of things that you do, which goes directly into the WISE system. You'll notice on the left here, there's a drop-down menu. Now, if you're just a customer, you're going to get one level of security, which is pretty much view only. So it pops down and just has your information. If you're an agent, like even a 4PL or somebody that manages a bunch of 3PLs, you'll get this drop down that has all of your customers on it. And you can click on and see their attendant receipts, stock statuses, all of that kind of stuff within the system. So it's a very high functioning web portal that again, we recommend that any company that you go with has something like this. All right. So also labeling. Now this is key because most of you have this need. Wise is delivered with the Bartender barcoding engine, which we think is one of the most robust on the market today. Excuse me. We can read and print virtually any and all barcode symbologies that you would need to have. Okay. You can, here is, for instance, a generic label that you could use for drop shipping. Here's a priority mail, and we have all the carriers. I'll show that in a minute. And here's an Amazon label. So we have a whole department here that does nothing but labels, but we give you the power to do that yourselves. So that's something that we have that's key. Excuse me. We also, as I talked about, have shipping, which we have an integration to pretty much anybody out there. You know, ClipperShip, ConnectShip, ShipExec, ShipEngine, all the carriers, you recognize everybody, LTLs, fleets, anything that you would need, we can connect to within our system. And so we allow you to use your own, or we can provide one. It's strictly up to you. So lastly, and then we'll get into some questions and things. Here's some of the key differentiators of the Wise 3PL billing engine. Okay. As I mentioned before, built from our leading ERP financial program, our engineers have designed what is considered by many top tier 3PLs to be the premier 3PL system available today. Wise 3PL can accommodate virtually any type of product and all the unique attributes associated with it, like size, color, lot, country of origin, anything that you want to have, we can create for you as an attribute. Okay. Now this next one is important for owners who have the same SKU. And this is a problem that you might run into with some older 3PL systems, is that you don't really have a way to manage the same SKU for multiple owners. The way we handle it at Wise is exactly that. You can have 5 different customers or owners that have, you know, they all have Crest toothpaste, right? For example, the same SKU. Well, we know each owner and what quantity that they have and what location each one is in. And that's a key thing. And if you don't have that, you're doing that manually, as you all know. Okay. We have two types of deployment, cloud-based and on-premise. So we can deliver any way. Some of the older companies still want the on-premise. They like what they call Fort Knox to be on-site. But cloud-based is really where we're all going. We typically use Amazon Web Services, but we can use others. Well, Wise also has 3 options for payments. The monthly SaaS subscription, which is pretty common nowadays, purchasing the system outright, or transaction. Now, transaction-based systems are pretty rare. And Royal 4 has that. And basically with this model, you can pass the cost of the software back to the customer as part of their fee, and therefore making the software virtually free. And this is a great concept. And I want to work with everybody on this call, if they want to be able to put that program together. You can reach me, again, I'll say it, at 3pl@royal4.com. That's my direct email. So I want to ask you to remember to get educated and then get wise. That's our slogan. And contact us to automate your warehouse. So I'm hoping that you all got something out of this. Again, it's a short webinar, so we need to talk further about some specifics. Here are some of our companies that we deal with on a regular basis. You can see that these are Fortune 100 and 500 type companies that have chosen Royal 4. I'm sure you can recognize all these logos. So that being said, I guess we're going to see what kind of questions you all have. And I thank you.
Well, thank you, Kim. So I don't see very many questions here. I will say, though, I want to say to all the folks that are attending today that we will send you a link to this recording today if you would like to look at it later. We're also going to send you a webinar, one of our case study client examples of what we've done with some folks and the benefits of using our 3PL billing engine that you might also appreciate as well.
Definitely.
But I don't think there's
yeah,
any
and
questions.
to that, To that
Go ahead,
point,
please.
thank you very much, Gary. And to that point, I would like to work with anybody. You know, you get the flavor of what's going on these webinars, but we find that it's much better to do a one-on-one engagement with you, and we're happy to do that. We never charge for any of that stuff, for the consulting. Every pre-sale activity that we do is complimentary. And so as one of the veterans in the industry, Royal 4 is really somebody that you can should consider when you're looking for a 3PL. So again, I welcome you to contact me, Kim Emond, at Royal 4 using 3pl@royal4.com. And as Gary said, we're going to give you all a link to this recording so you can look at it. And I guess that's the whole presentation. We really thank you for coming.
Yeah, so we did it in 20 minutes. Fantastic. Well, thank
Oh,
you,
good.
everyone.
Thank
Catch
you,
on the
everyone.
next one.